This video was made possible by viewers like you over on Patreon. Check out the link in the description to hear how you can help make shows like this be even more amazing. Hey everyone, Gaijin Goomba here, and welcome back to another episode of Yokai Hunters, the series where Japanese monster media meet to unravel the origins of gaming and anime's coolest characters.
Alright, got my Eboshi on, I think the Kaidiginu's straight. Okay, all set. So, what'd I miss over the last 2 weeks?
You know, just the source of our content for the next couple of months starting next March.
Oh, my bad.
Hey, no worries, I've been busy enough with my own stuff like my brand new 5th ed D&D Yokai race, the Kappa. Yes, it's finally done over at dmsguild.com. Links in the description if you want to check that out, as well as the Tanuki race I put out a few months back, but more on that a bit later. Right now, I need to backpedal by about a week, because amidst my flailing weeb fanboying over the announcement of Monster Hunter Rise, I've completely neglected a huge game release that dropped just a day later, the Super Mario 3D All-Stars pack for the Switch. I know it likely doesn't mean much for anyone under the age of 30, but y'all gotta understand, I grew up here. As a single console kid back in the mid-90s, these games, especially Mario 64, were a huge part of my life as a nerdy kid in middle school. Heck, it was a huge part of countless nerdy kids in middle school. So, to see not one, but 3 of these classics ported to a modern, portable system, well, call it nostalgia blinds if you must, but despite how good or bad they may have aged, it means the world to me to see these games available to a new generation. And apparently it struck the same note with my patrons as it did with me.
Yeah, complete with all the bugs and glitches that came from the first generations of 3D Mario. I thought they would have patched this stuff out. Granted, some of them are just funny, while others are, yeah, man, it's like the entire game itself is full of glitch gremlin yokai. Yep, there's Butsuri Nashi, the digital trickster yokai that makes collision disappear just to make you die.
You know, you joke, but out of all of Nintendo's big franchises, the Mario series really does have the most yokai in them. Or at least yokai-inspired baddies. I mean, in some cases, it's pretty blunt force trauma, as was the case for Super Mario Land 6 Golden Coins. I mean, these aren't even inspired enemies, they're just straight up yokai. I mean, I didn't know what the heck these things were when I was 10, did you? But other times, Nintendo was fairly sneaky about their references. Things like the kidnapping Koopas possibly originating from the ambush kidnapping yokai Kappa, the Tanumba of the Mario & Luigi series being little more than a Tanuki Goomba hybrid, or even the obscure Fuzzies from the Yoshi's Island series being modeled after the yokai Kesaran Pasaran.
Yeah, bet you didn't see that one coming.
So while I think we've made this pretty apparent on this channel and the other videos that we've done over time, we've still not made a sizable dent in the sheer number of yokai that show up alongside the world-renowned platforming plumber, or in some cases, on top of them. It's funny you mention obstacle-causing yokai in the Mario games, because that's exactly what we're talking about today. Now, originally I was going to talk about all the yokai-inspired baddies that block Mario's path, but based on the insane levels of research I found for these seemingly simple enemies, there just isn't enough time for all of that in one video. So instead, I want to focus today's video on the oldest of old-school obstacle-based baddies, the Thwomp. Though in Japan they're called Dolson, named after the Japanese onomatopoeia of a loud crushing sound. I mean, that's what Thwomp means, right? And when I say old school, I mean this enemy has been in over 80 different Mario games from 1998 to 2019. That's over 21 years of flattening players into a singular dimension. But for as simple as Thwomps seem to be, just what the heck are they canonically? Like, Goombas are mushroom people, and Koopas are sentient turtles, while Thwomps are floating stone heads that live for nothing more than crushing people underneath them? I mean, apparently they've been described as, quote, nasty stone ghosts in a user manual or two from the new Super Mario Bros. Series, but still to this day, no idea. And at the same time, they're not 100% homogenized either. Thwomps have taken on a lot of different forms over the years, starting off possessing a multi-spiky stone circumference to its exterior, then just being a flat-out blue blocky head, and then coming all the way back around to the original design, but being a bit more blunted around the edges. And all of these different forms still persist to this day in the 80-some-odd games that this baddie's featured in. And not only are they different shapes, but also different sizes. While Thwomps were introduced in Super Mario Bros. 3, Thwimps were introduced in the next game, Super Mario World for the SNES. And unlike Thwomps, Thwimps were far smaller and worked in groups to crush our mustachioed hero. But I think all in all, the Thwomp trophy from Super Smash Bros. Melee put this baddie best. Thwomps spend most of their time suspended in midair waiting. When Mario passes below, they crush down with amazing speed. As you may guess from their appearance, they're heavy and solid enough to make any attack on them futile. Small ones are called Thwimps. Despite their weight, they often form groups and bounce around.
Yeah, seems like a pretty unique member to the Mario roster, right? Yo, to, sha, kai, jin, ish, zai, zen, kyukyu no ritsuryo! Well, this, my friends, is a Tsurubeoroshi, also known as a Tsurubeotoshi. And I think just by looking at this thing, you can already guess what it's about. Translated as the bucket drop, the Tsurubeoroshi is a carnivorous yokai dwelling in the tree linings of Aichi, Wakayama, and Shiga prefectures, but most famous from the Kyoto prefecture. According to the Kuchi Tanba Kohi Shu, or collection of oral legends of Kuchi Tanba, in the village of Sogabe, a Tsurubeoroshi would terrorize the town as it would suddenly drop down and ambush people from kaya trees, attempting to crush people to death, and then taunting as it ascends back up, saying,
Yaho Sundaka, Tsurubeoroshi ka?
The Tsurubeoroshi is also known in other works like the kaidan called Kokon Hyakumonogatari Hyoban and Toriyama Sekien's Gazu Hyakiyagyo. But despite minor differences, all Tsurubeoroshi did one thing and one thing really, really well. Crush the ever-loving crap out of people that walked underneath them and either eat the mashed remains or simply guffaw as it continues to crush people for funsies.
Yeah, I actually remember seeing a 1-to-1 scale of these things in Tokyo in August during a Gegege no Kitaro event, and yeah, this is not something I'd want flying my way at terminal velocity.
A few interesting side notes though about this murderous crushing head. It has a handful of regional cousins that have a few physical derivative features. Tsurubeoroshi aren't always human heads, but sometimes Tengu or Oni heads. They also have size and behavioral differences between the northern and southern sides of the country. In the Kansai region, for example, Tsurubeoroshi are both massive in size and solitary predators. But in areas like Tohoku, Tsurubeoroshi are much smaller and work in packs to take down their prey.
So what we got here is a yokai that's hard as a rock, big as a boulder, is essentially a massive head, and lives for nothing more than to taunt people as it slams down from high places in an attempt to crush folks to death. That, by its very definition, is a thwomp. But hold on your butts, because the simple idea of being a giant, hard-headed crushing machine isn't the only connection between these two. Tsurubeoroshi differ in size and behavior, right? Being isolated giants in Kansai, while being smaller and working in groups in Tohoku? Well, aren't thwomps the exact same way? Most of the time, thwomps are massive and isolationist in the game world. I mean, occasionally we have a couple of close proximity thwomps, but that's usually pretty rare. But then you have thwimps, which are much smaller than thwomps, but they make up for that fact by working together in groups to crush Mario. It's even stated as such in the Thwomp Smash Bros. Trophy. Even the names of these two share similar properties. Thwomps are named as such, as well as Dolson, because of their sole purpose in existence, to slam down onto things. While Tsurubeoroshi are similarly coined, but not as a proper noun or name, but rather the concept of a well bucket being dropped down and slammed on the ground. It's a little more nuanced, but my point is, this guy and this guy are both named after what it is that they do.
Wait, hang on. I just found out here in the Kokon Hyakumonogatari Hyoban and the Gazu Hyakiyagyo that Tsurubeoroshi have an alternate form and name, the Tsurubebi, or Falling Bucket Fire. And unlike its cousin, the Tsurubebi is a flaming ball with facial features that drop down and then back up from trees in a similar fashion to the Tsurubeoroshi. So, does that mean that the Tsurubebi are lava bubbles? I mean, they have all the same properties. Flaming balls with simple facial features that either pop up or drop down with the sole intention of attacking anything that gets in their y-axis. And while Tsurubeoroshi and thwomps will only drop down at the sight of someone scurrying under it, lava bubbles and Tsurubebi just naturally and habitually bob up and down at their location.
Well, what do you guys think? Are we seeing a nearly one-to-one cultural parallel here, or is this just really coincidental? But while you ponder this predicament, let me just slide in here to remind you that my brand new 5th Ed homebrew D&D yokai race, the Kappa, is available right now at dmsguild.com. Featuring not only fantastic art from our very own Gecko Ninja and Yuki Goomba, but a balanced race built from several Japanese folk stories involving the mischievous little water sprite, as well as 5 of their regional cousins. So if you're looking to add a little folklore to your game, enjoy the Tanuki race I put up a few months back, or just want to help support these videos, be sure to check out the book through the link in the description. But as always, gang, thanks for watching. And a tremendous thank you to my patrons who made this and several other videos in past and future possible. I cannot understate how critical crowdfunding is for my edutainment content, so for all of you out there willing to toss $1 a month my way, you are the real heroes here. And don't worry, we're not even close to wrapping up the yokai inspirations in the Mario franchise, but we'll just have to see what patrons vote on for the next video. And if you want to take part in deciding that as well, be sure to check out our Patreon page too. And don't forget, we're streaming every Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday at 7 p.m. US Central Time. But until next time, everyone, this is Gaijin Kumba, signing